For those of you who don't know me, I'm Louis and I'm a web marketer. I used to be a graphic designer and I went to uni with Jess actually to study graphic design, but I gave up because I wasn't very good at it. So, and so 10 years on, in uni they really focused on saying a good graphic designer should always ask why. And I kind of took that to heart. And when I found packages like Google Analytics and software that really starts to tell you why, I kind of got lost and started finding my way through digital marketing and started becoming really data-led and really, versus making things look great and communicate and tell a really good story, it all for me became much more nuts and bolts and how is this working and kind of becoming more kind of mechanical. So a digital marketer from a place called Login, go figure. I should have figured that one out really. For all of you that are interested, it's a small place in Carmarthenshire. The tourist attractions are a phone box and a bridge, and the nearest shop is 3 miles away up a hill, which makes for some good bike rides. So like I mentioned, I've been a long time admirer of Jess and the team. They took the leap into becoming business owners and doing their own thing a lot earlier than I did. I spent 10 years as a career digital marketer, standing in front of blue lights and looking more like a Smurf. But one of the highlights of my career, I guess, and where I started finding myself and my skill set was working in the tourism industry. And when I really started up in the pace and really getting to grips with what I was doing, you can see in 2013 and in 2014, I led the digital work that the team was doing to 2 national awards. We also turned a website that looked like it should belong in the 90s into one that was fit for purpose in modern day, and then responded to certain economic challenges that were facing the council and kind of went, well, you know, no one really cares about web visits anymore, it's all about leads. And through user analysis and data interpretation, we built out a section of the Visit Swansea Bay website, and that section alone leapfrogged the site from generating 1,200 leads per year to over 35,000. And that was literally just from going, what do people want when they visit the website? What are they looking for? How can we give it to them? So after kind of 6-7 years client side, out of the blue, I had a LinkedIn message basically sounding me out to be headhunted. So I spent the next 3 years as part of an advertising agency, applying everything that I'd learned in terms of website optimization, design-led thinking, and analytics, and applying that to the advertising world. So from, I think, around 2015, I was fully immersed in paid search, paid social, display, video advertising in the recruitment and education space predominantly. Which then led me to September 2018, when I was loving working in advertising, but I also kind of missed the analytics and the website optimization stuff that I'd been doing before. And I kind of thought, well, do you know what I can do? I can start a business the wrong way, which is pick up your services and go, I'll design a business around that and work it all out later. Which when you join a business accelerator or do any courses, you start to realize that actually you should check the market first, really, and check what people want to buy. But so far, we've been loving life over the last 15 months. We've been growing from strength to strength, generating some good reputation and getting some really good clients actually approaching us, wanting to work with us. And we focus on 3 core things. So one is Google Analytics, trying to understand what people do on your website, how people interact with content that's there, and also looking for gaps to find out what they're looking for that isn't there and putting that in place. We do CRO, which has been around for about 13 years, invented in the UK, but like all good things, pinched by the US and brought back here in the last kind of few years in a big way. And CRO is all about, it's not quite web design, so we don't design websites, but we will look at pages and user journeys and look at where that process is broken or users are getting stuck or users are getting lost and figure out how that is hampering the website's ability to generate leads and sales. And then moving that kind of pay-per-click, paid search, paid social, video, display advertising into the mix as well. So enough about me. What we're all here to kind of look at was the creative campaign that was put together by Jess, and I'm sure we'll all agree that it was a fantastic video. And then also, when the video was being created, as Jess mentioned, there was a big appetite to kind of get this in front of the right people. And And we'd been really hungry to get our hands on some of Jess and the team's video work for quite a while, and I'll go into why shortly. But we really thought that rather than just getting video views, that there was a real opportunity here to generate some leads for the business. And we had a theory that we really wanted to put to work. So what I'm going to run through as part of this talk is why we were so keen to get our teeth stuck into the videos, and run through a bit of the theory there and the thinking, how we decided what to do and why we decided what to do in terms of what we were going to do to get that video content out there in front of the right people, and also a little exercise at the end to kind of help you take the first steps towards doing it for yourself, and then finishing with a Q&A at the end. So 2 big opportunities, 2 phrases that probably mean absolutely nothing to anyone. So I'll explain them both in a little bit more detail. But the 2 reasons that we wanted to work with Jess's video so much is that 1, we thought that we could take an audience from not wanting to buy to wanting to buy a lot quicker because of XYZ, which we'll explain. And 2, we really believe that the video that Jessica Draws and the team could produce could convert the value of good intention. So I'm not expecting this to make any sense. I will explain. So let's talk about speeding up the buying journey. So this is your typical marketing funnel. So at the top, it's wider, there's more people, they're a lot less likely to buy. This is almost the thinking behind it. If you're familiar with the marketing funnel, you'll probably also be familiar with a lot of talking at the moment around the marketing funnel being dead and it being more about capturing moments than a marketing funnel, which in fairness is true. But as SMEs, if we focus on capturing a million different moments, we're going to run out of money and we're going to run out of sanity pretty fast. So actually this works as a really good vehicle to start thinking about the way that people kind of move through a decision-making journey from not knowing who you are and not wanting to buy from you to now considering you as a real contender to do business with. So like I said, more people who are less likely at the top, less people who are more likely to buy at the bottom. And like I said, this funnel is kind of arranged into 3 different mindsets. So at the top, we all know the saying, people do business with brands they know, like, and trust. Well, that's your top of the funnel stuff. That's your branding, that's your storytelling, that's the not asking for a sale. That's really kind of defining who you are and trying to interact with people on a personal level. This is the face and the personality of the brand and trying to communicate that. In the middle of the funnel, you've got understanding what you do and how. So for example, if someone suddenly starts getting to know you and going, oh, actually, do you know what? I feel like I could do business with these guys. They're still not going to go, and so I'm going to buy. Actually, they're going to want to know what you do, who else does similar things, how it's done. Is there a process? Is there pricing? Are there anything that I should consider? So the middle of the funnel is really about information gathering and gearing yourself up to being able to make that decision. And then the bottom of the funnel is actually converting. So how do you buy? How does that process pan out? Loosely speaking, video generally sits in the top 2 tiers. So if we think about top of the funnel being know, like, and trust, let's think about every Christmas advert we've ever seen. Let's think about every film trailer we've ever seen. Let's think about pretty much every viral video we've ever seen. It's all about creating an emotional connection to assign to something. And that's really what it's all about. So for example, a brand like Coca-Cola can successfully run a top of the funnel marketing campaign because they know that if they can make you feel good, that it's very likely that you'll walk into a shop in the near future, see Coca-Cola there, and that to last. For the rest of us who don't have things in every single shop, or people aren't going to encounter us every single day, we have to carry on nurturing people down to the next phase of the funnel. So middle of the funnel video is things like video reviews, unboxing videos, product demonstrations, so on and so forth. You get the kind of idea, like getting a more tactile sense of the product and really starting to understand what's being offered in a way that words and images can't describe. So the theory here was that we would be able to speed up that decision-making journey because of the way that Jess and the team create video. In simple terms, by telling a story, by finding out the story of the brand, by turning that into a branded story, and by explaining the services in one go, we're taking the storytelling from the top level of the funnel and we're combining it with the information sharing of the middle of the funnel, which means that if we can do that and it's effective, then all we've got to do next is ask for the sale and it should be effective. So there's the theory. Now that next term I talked about was converting the value of good intention. And I only ever heard about this in the tourism industry, and I've never heard about it since. But just to kind of give an idea, when I was working in destination marketing, that's an information sharing approach. It's blogs, it's content, it's helping people decide what to see and do in an area, but there are no points of sales. So the accommodation is run by other people, the activities are done by other people, the attractions are run by other people. There is no way to measure how many people engaged and what the value of that was. So some clever bod in the tourism team had come up with this way of measuring the value of good intention, which talks about how many people we expect are intending on visiting and what the value of that visit is likely to be. So it's very kind of blue sky thinking, very intention based. We don't know if they are gonna visit, but if you're providing information, then it's about as good as we're gonna get. So measure of the audience. Who here knows what retargeting is? Cool, so a good chunk. So if you don't know what it is, you will have seen it in action. So if you think about the last time you were shopping for something and then all of a sudden that product was following you around the internet, that's retargeting. So retargeting is basically building an audience of people who are interested in something, and most commonly understood by people visiting a website. So you view this page, you view this product page, you are interested in this product. If I then show you that product again at a later time, you are exponentially more likely to buy that product. So goes the science. Well, actually, you can build a retargeting audience using video too, and it is faster and cheaper and more effective. Roughly speaking, and don't quote me on these numbers because it can go up and it can come down, but if you think it's going to be 10p to generate a video view, it's likely to be £1 to send someone to a website. So if you're putting money into advertising, trying to build a retargeting audience by sending people to a website, by the time you've built an audience of 1,000 people, you could have spent you could now have an audience of 10,000 people just by doing video. And I'm very conscious that I still haven't really talked about the value of good intention in this context. So you build up a reason to ask for something and then you ask for it. It's the same with video. It's often the same with organic social media. We build this amazing profile, this amazing reputation. We create these great thoughts about our company, but then we don't create that vehicle to be able to go out and convert that value of good intention into actual leads and sales. And this is what we really thought the gap was. So let's put that all in context of the campaign. And we didn't know that this was going to work. This was built around a theory. And when Jess approached us to get the video in front of the right people, we kind of said, we've got this idea that we think will work. How do you feel about this? And what we kind of knew was that if we generate one sale from this activity, it'll pay for itself. So it's an experiment worth doing just to see, if this works, we can scale it up and it becomes a great way to generate leads and sales. If it doesn't, if it really fails, it's unlikely to generate less than one client. So we're probably going to be in a good place regardless. So typically when we look to kind of generate leads from a campaign, you've got a few different options. And I'm not saying these are all the options, but these can potentially be solutions. So we've got landing pages, which is sending people to a dedicated page designed towards converting a lead. So you might have all the great services, all the great features and benefits of what you do, loads of social proof and reasons to become a customer. But that page is specifically designed to turn you into a lead rather than to signpost you anywhere else in a website. You have messenger ads, which is not an ad that shows up in the messenger app, but one that shows up in Facebook, and rather than pointing you to a website, will open up a conversation in Messenger when you click it. We've got call ads, which when you see them on a telephone and you click it, it'll make the phone start ringing, so you actually initiate an inbound conversation. And we've got lead ads, which different to a landing page, when you click the ad, it will open up the form in whatever platform you're looking at, whether it's Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, so forth, and you can fill in that form without leaving that platform then and there. So we didn't go for landing pages because it would be too much extra work, too much extra design, content, all the rest of it, and it would have to be developed. We didn't go for messenger ads because it was more down to work and resources that we'd have to come up with a really robust way of taking a conversation that might be really kind of aloof and bringing it through to a sales conversation. We didn't go for call ads because we knew we'd have to add another layer like call analytics to track that blind spot. So if anyone's looking at call analytics at the moment, good pieces of software to look at are Response Tap, Ruler Analytics, Call Rail, and things like this. But we did go with lead ads because it was very quick to kind of put a form together within the platform that we were running with. And actually, Jess had some really good ideas of what she could say to her clients that would make them want to kind of break cover and become a lead. So this was the general strategy. And like I said, it's not a huge campaign. This was just how do we test this theory in a nice lightweight way. First off, we decided to go with Facebook for no reason other than we know that it's probably more cost effective than any other channel out there. Even if the quality of leads might kind of fluctuate, we knew that we'd probably be able to create some volume so that there was at least some good quality inquiries. We decided to use lead ads again because it was going to be super quick to set up and run with. And we also thought at minimum we want to come out of this knowing what worked and what didn't. So we structured that testing around two simple processes. One was using video retargeting. So someone sees the video, we build that video retargeting audience, then we show them the downloadable, the biggest video marketing mistakes. Test number 2 was a shorter journey where we encourage people to download that lead magnet straight from the ad itself with no second step. So we can see here, number 1, we've got the video ad on your left-hand side. No call to action, just copy and the video to play. On the right, we've got the ad that we went back out with the prompt to download the PDF and the download call to action that would open up the form to download it. Second option, we can see the video ad there again, but we've got the call to action down the bottom in the same ad where you click to download and you can do that all in one go. Now, we were really confident that the video retargeting approach was going to work best because we've seen it time and time again. And what we've also seen time and time again is that video retargeting works exceptionally well. But we were very, very wrong. And good job we tested it. So we saw that in the first test, and you can see that test number 2, the spend and the results are a lot higher because obviously we turned off test 1 when we realized that the second option was performing a lot better. So if we'd have carried on going, we would have got a £33.81 cost per lead. And the reason we turned that off was because test number 2 was converting leads at a cost of only £9.60, which is why you can see there, it doesn't take a scientist to work out that that's 85 leads overall. But there were some problems in the early days. It wasn't all plain sailing. Because while the numbers were stacking good, the leads were flying in, the costs were great, everything was going really, really well. On our weekly calls with Jess, it's like, yeah, this is all going really well, but no one's answering the phone, no one's responding to emails. What do we do? So our response was that we thought we were probably making it too easy for people to download the form. That probably, so I should have mentioned that within those lead generation forms, it's as easy as tap, 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 get the thing. Because it will use your name that you've registered with and it will use your email address that you've registered that Facebook account with out of the box. So what we thought is, well, we'll put an extra step, and if people aren't responding to a work-related query on their personal email, let's make them type in their work email and see how that goes. Boom, sales started coming in. People started answering, people started wanting to buy, which started resulting in sales being generated, which was happy days. Also, as we can see from £888.70, so a lot less than £1,000, we were able to generate over 10,000 interactions with the ads, which includes over 9,500 views of the video and over 17,500 people reached. So we got sales, we got well over £23,000 worth of sales, but also we reached over 17,000 people and got the video seen over 9,500 times. Let's recap what we think were the key ingredients here. Number 1 was telling a story in a way that really personifies the brand and gives you a feeling of who the company is and what they do. Number 2 was that the product and services were well defined and explained. Right the way through Jess's video, it gave all the facts and it talked about video as a marketing tool and how it helps people grow their business. And then the third ingredient was giving people a lead magnet to download that was compelling. So we all know that video often stops a lot of people because either it takes a lot of time or it takes a big emotional hurdle to overcome to start creating it, or it's expensive to create via an agency, or so goes the perception. So this idea of cost in terms of time or money was what was really being tapped into with the lead magnet, the most expensive video marketing mistakes. So this is kind of what we want to explore here, is what are people worried about? Why do people say no? Why do people not say yes? What are they concerned? What are they fearful of? What are they angry about with other people in the space? So what I'd like to do is if you can all turn to the person next to you and just spend 2 minutes just kind of coming up with a list of 5+ of these kind of things, of the things that really narc your clients or your customers off. Right, so once we've thought of these pain points or things that we think people are considering, let's start to go through those and kind of think about, well, what's the counter or what's the way to turn that into some value for the person at the other end. So I'm going to keep this screen up, but there's loads of different things you can do with this. You could create an infographic or a checklist or a brochure, one-pager, white page, report, calculator, competition, giveaway, swipe file of loads of free tools, whatever it is. But just to kind of share that you also need a reason for someone to download it. So if it doesn't kind of tap into a sense of urgency or a real issue that someone's facing, then it's much less likely to be downloaded. So like we said, like spend is a big issue in video. We knew that we knew that it had a very high likeliness to be engaged with. But some other things you can think about is putting together something that's going to save someone time. Put something in place that people feel like if they don't act now, they're going to miss out on. So it might be a limited numbers of X, or as an exclusive X, or something like that. Curiosity, where, I really kind of feel like I should know a little bit more about that. Or knowledge gaps. So if you're an expert in your field, what do you know that other people don't know that they wish they did? So we're going to go for another 2 minutes each, but just start to think about that. What you wrote down before, or something new, listening to this slide, what can you offer in exchange for an email lead or a telephone number that can start to generate business? I'd love to see people kind of taking this and putting it to work, maybe putting some ad spend behind it, and trying to generate this kind of robot Salesforce and seeing how that pans out. I just wanted to run through something very quick with you. And when I first started up, the one thing that I kind of didn't have such a great sense of when I was working in a company, doing an agency, typically bigger companies see the numbers a lot less. So often they'll be happy with sharing impressions and clicks and kind of the stuff that we would now refer to as vanity metrics. But when we were running campaigns for ourselves, when we were running campaigns for Jess, and when we were speaking to a number of kind of software startups right at the beginning of our journey, the thing that was really, really important was that they were really tight on their numbers. So I talked about at the beginning, we knew at minimum if we generated one customer from this campaign, it was in the black. How many leads did it take to get a customer? If we say that's 5, how much does the average customer spend on the first sale? Let's say it's 500. Well, 5 leads to one customer, 20% conversion rate, that's £100 every time a lead is generated. Okay, so that's a value to the first sale. So if we start generating leads and we're starting to track these numbers, we can start to get an idea of whether we are running a profitable campaign or a campaign at a loss. The next question on that was how many times do they buy over a life cycle? Now let's say the average customer spends £500 the first time they buy, but they'll come back and spend that £500 10 times. So now we've got a lifetime value of £1,000. So many lead generation campaigns that we've worked with in the past will actually operate at a loss to that first lead generated, because the company knows that the lifetime value of the client is significant enough to take that loss and carry that through the lifetime of the client. So always useful if you start a lead generation campaign, measure it to the first sale, but also know what the lifetime value is, because if it's running at a loss, it may not be the end of the world if you can sustain it and you know it's going to generate you that lifetime value in terms of clients. So to wrap up, some of the key points that we've kind of talked about today. Think about your audience and their pain points. Storytell, don't sell your services, and give something valuable in exchange for something valuable. People guard their email address quite heavily now. If I think about my inbox, I know that it's full of spam that I kind of regularly cull. and that makes people a lot more reluctant to give away their email. So we generally have to work a lot harder to give something of value. So, thank you very much.